Hello, my friends. We're in Shuzhou, Jiangsu province. It's the capital of Yixing Ceramics. Behind me is the Museum of Teaware, where we can learn about Yixing teapots, the manufacturing process and the history of pottery as well, from the very beginning, the early Neolithic period, to the present day. Here we can see very interesting glazed tables made of Yixing clay. They can be used not only for tea ceremonies, but also for playing Go. This room contains some early works of ancient pottery art, which were found during excavations in 1991. According to scientific expertise, it is the first clay pot of the early Neolithic period. What's important, it's not just a common crock. It was also glazed back then. Here are a lot of such artifacts. This room contains ceramics from the Han Dynasty. The crocks are bigger and more complex by this time. They were made in new shapes as well. However, there are none of the famous Yixing teapots. Some works of the Song Dynasty and the Tang Dynasty are exhibited here. This is a list of all the necessary instruments used by a teapot maker. All sorts of floats, cutting tools, beam compasses, smoothers, and different templates are shown here. A true master must know how to use all of them. These two instruments are especially important for all ceramicists. This one is a wooden beater, which is used for clay flattening and shaping the teapot's main piece. The second one is modern, a metal potter's wheel that can be found at almost any Yixing pottery. Originally, of course, they were made of wood. This is an exhibition of the first Yixing teapots. They belong to the early Qing dynasty. There are very few whole teapots left from that time, mostly just lids and spouts. However, we can get an idea of the different shapes, spherical shapes and square shapes. Here is, for example, a turtle-shaped sigil. Here is depicted the legendary discoverer of Yixing clay and founder of ceramics and pottery. It says "weird monk" in English. Unfortunately, I don't know how it is in Chinese. It can be translated as "unusual monk." It's written here that he's the legendary founder of Yixing pottery and discoverer of Yixing clay, Ding Sha. There's a very large amount of different types of rock in Yixing. However, only a small fraction of them can be used for pottery. All sorts of Yixing rocks and clay are shown here. The colours and shades are very diverse. Because there are so many different types of clay, Yixing is a centre of pottery since ancient times. Here are most of the known shapes of Yixing teapots and a brief history. This room displays the most prominent works of masters from the 20th century. Some of these masters have already passed away. This is a teapot. made by the legendary master Fang Shuzheng. He used a very unusual technique. Real Heijian jade was embedded into the handles, lids and spouts of his pieces. Modern masters almost never use this rare technology. I can say that this is only the second time in my life that I've seen this type of craft. I thought the exhibition was over, but in fact it's not, and there's still more. In this room there are works of contemporary masters, from quite original examples, like this football made of Yixing clay, for example. By the look of it, it's indistinguishable from a real one, and also various unusual teapots. Of course, Yixing masters are not only known for their teapots, they also make everything that can be made out of ceramics. Tiny vases, flower pots, tea table figurines, and sculptures. This is another room. On display here are prominent works of modern masters. Stunning exhibit items can be found here. The museum even has its own little cinema. It broadcasts a documentary about Yixing culture and about ceramics. Ding Sha. Enjoy your tea.